Okay, so the Rebbe gave out his biyurim on these two prakim of the Rambam. That shows how important it is and how much the Rebbe wants us to learn these biyurim on the Rambam. That's pretty simple. The sefer is all the Rebbe's biyurim on the last two prakim of the Rambam. Everything, or whatever, most of it, what the Rebbe explained in the last two prakim. I said my mother got this booklet from the Rebbe. I told you the Maisa. You remember? Basically, I'm working on this sefer for 3 years in my house. It's Chanukah. There's Suminissa and Shabbos Pashas Vayeshev, Tavshin and Beis. The Rebbe says one of the Nyanim to bring Mashiach is to advertise miracles, especially miracles that the Rebbe is doing with us now. So, Kitzur, the Rebbe gave out many things, but in my house, I have a place where I have all the booklets, all the Tanyas, all the Kantreisim. The only thing that was missing was this Kovetz, the Dvar Malchus, that the Rebbe gave out. And this, I realized, was already in the Shir Aleph Mesifta, at least 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. 12 years ago, whatever. Tavshin Ayin. I realized that it's missing, so it bothered me that it's missing. You're missing something from the Rebbe. I asked my mother, where is it? She told me she didn't realize Dvar Malchus. Today you have it on every other booklet. It says Dvar Malchus. People don't even know that this is from the Rebbe. So she said that she missed time and threw it in Shemis. As though I lost hope to find it, it bothered me. Even then I remember it bothered me. Especially once you're koching on this, the Rebbe is Dvar Malchus Hilchos Moshiach, and you're making a whole sefer, and then all of a sudden, what's missing? From everything from the Rebbe, exactly what you're koching in is missing. So, I remember I always felt like I felt a huge, my father and my mother, both missing. I felt like a hole, a mamish aloch and haaretz. I remember I worked on this sefer. This is at least 3 years of working on it. I remember after, we're working, it's a lot of work to put it together, and then to Reb Nachman Shapiro to go over the whole sefer and this. I was just type everything. I was a couple of days before they give it to Avraham and Araynis, the guy that would set it up to do the typeset. This was during Corona, Zion year. So I remember the date. Vov year is when the Rebbe said Malchus B'Tiferes the Derech HaYishara. The sichad about learning this is a day before. That day in Sfiras Eimer. So our family, we have a storage. We pay for storage. My mother wanted to move something from one storage to a different storage to save money, whatever. So my brother went and he was moving everything. There was like 30 boxes plus of Kontreisim and Beis Mashiachs and Kfar Chabads and booklets from the Chavs and tons of stuff, random booklets. My brother, out of the whole bunch of booklets, he just took one box and he brought it home. He said, yeah, whatever, he wanted to bring more. He said, and with garnish, so at least he'll take one box. He brings the box home. I remember this was like on a Monday. I didn't touch it because I was busy working on the sefer. Erev Shabbos, after davening mincha, Erev Shabbos, it was right getting into Shabbos already. So once it became Leil Shabbos, it was the first chance I was able to touch the box, because till then I'm just busy typing on the computer the whole day and the whole night. I went to this box, I open it up, and I see, old stuff, and then I see something blue popping out from the bottom. I remember I was Ula Yerachim, Shrev Rachmanis, this should be, this country's. I pull it out, and I see Dvar Malchus Hilchos Moshiach Malachim Prakim Beis, and I pulled it out. I opened it up to see, and it says Erev Tezai Nir Tavshin Anav Niskabel Miyad Agdeish Shal Gedish Sad Mishlito with the Rebbe's dollar inside. I remember I started dancing. It was Simchas Torah for me. For me, we're educated. Anyone that was born after Gimel Tammuz, that the Rebbe is, is guiding us, and the Rebbe is thinking about every chassid. So you believe in it. You have a munah, but sometimes you mamish feel it in your bones. I remember, I never felt like that in my life. Like it was so. Like it was for 30 years, it's not in the shelf. For 30 years, it's missing. You made a ganze sefer, Punktes al Bazach, that Rebbe made sure that you should get B'Yodei HaGedosha from the Rebbe's holy hands, exact same thing. So that's this booklet over here. Whatever, maybe with the strongest haskama for the Rebbe for the sefer was to get the booklet from the Rebbe's hands. Okay, we're going to continue learning over here. That was the Fabrenken, whatever. Till now we learned the first seif the Rebbe says, the Rebbe brings the Rambam. Where the Rambam says, it says, V'shav Hashem alekecha, Shvus Chadebish is going to bring everyone to Eretz Yisrael. That's one proof. The second proof he brings from Parshas Bilam. And from Parshas Bilam, the Rambam doesn't just say in Parshas Bilam it says Mashiach is going to come. Rather, the Rambam brings on all the psukim from Parshas Bilam. And the Rambam splits it into two, and he says this half is going on Dvar Malchus, the first Mashiach. This half is going on Melech HaMashiach, the second Mashiach, the last Mashiach. And he does that again and again. He starts explaining the pasuk and analyzing it. So the Rebbe's question is, why does the Rambam need to bringing down so many psukim to prove on Melech HaMashiach? It's enough to just say in Parshas Bilam, it says Melech HaMashiach is going to come, and that's it. He doesn't need to bring any psukim. And even if he brings, he could just bring the beginning and the end. That's enough. Why does he need to bring down all the psukim and go into all these details to explain why this is going on David HaMelech, this is going on Melech HaMashiach? So now, the next if the Rebbe is going to say, the Rebbe's question is not why does he bring the proof from Parshas Bilam. This that he brings the proof from Parshas Bilam, it's understood. This that he mentions it is understood. Why isn't the first proof enough? The Rebbe is going to bring everyone to Eretz Yisrael. It says the Rebbe two things. First of all, the first proof is a very general proof. You're not getting into any details. The Rebbe is going to bring everyone to Eretz Yisrael. That's it. The second proof, you're getting down into details. There's the first Mashiach, the second Mashiach. You're explaining how the Gula has details. It's not just a general thing. In other words, and the Rebbe explains, the first proof doesn't mention Melech HaMashiach. The first proof says the Eibishter is going to bring you to Eretz Yisrael. V'shav Hashem alekecha shvus Chadebish, the Eibishter is going to return. According to the Rambam, it's not enough to believe the Gula is just going to come from the Eibishter by himself. The Rambam emphasizes, V'chol mi she'einu ma'amin boy, anyone that doesn't believe in him, anyone that doesn't wait for him. It's not enough to believe, in general, that the Gula is going to take place. If someone says that, he's a koifer. The Rebbe brings, over here in the order, Hillel says, Ein lahem Mashiach li Yisrael. There's no Mashiach. So Rashi, right away, on the spot, and the Ran explained, Hillel should say there's no Mashiach, but is he speaking, Bikursis like crazy? He says, no. The Eibishter is going to bring the Gula by himself. The Eibishter doesn't need any help. He could do the Gula by himself without a Melech HaMashiach. That's what Hillel said. So he says, Ein lahem Mashiach li Yisrael. It doesn't say Ein Geula li Yisrael. There isn't a Melech HaMashiach. But here, this is exactly what the Rambam wants to exclude, that you should not say like this. So therefore he emphasizes, V'chol mi she'einu ma'amin boy. Anyone that doesn't believe in him, you need to believe not only the Gula is going to take place in general, you need to believe the Gula is going to happen through Melech HaMashiach. So if the Rambam would have just said, V'shav Hashem alekecha shvuscha, the Eibishter is going to bring you to Eretz Yisrael. So it's V'shav Hashem alekecha shvuscha, the Eibishter is going to bring you to Eretz Yisrael. But there's no proof for Melech HaMashiach, therefore he needs to bring the proof from Parshas Bilam, which there it's clearly speaking about Melech HaMashiach. It's speaking about a person. I see him. A ruler is gonna get up from within V'kom Shevet Yisrael, V'karkar Kol Bnei Sheis, V'yeresh Seirev. If you're speaking about a person that's gonna fight a war, he's gonna win a war, he's gonna win over. So you're clearly speaking about Melech HaMashiach. Therefore, the Rebbe needs to bring the bride from Parshas Bilam. But what's still not understood, says the Rebbe, why does the Rambam need to speak? Bring so elaborate, so detailed, bring down so many psukim to speak about the first Mashiach, the second Mashiach. Later on, the Rebbe is going to get into ask even more, what is it Negeh B'chlal to say that there's two Mashiachs. But first, why does he need to be Meirich? Okay, let's read inside base. Mizer Sharama Moisef Sarai Afro Parshas Bilam Nemar Afro Pisha Kvar Hevi Lifni Zerai Al Etzema Inin Shara Teira Yidolov Shanabar Vashav Hashem Lekecha Shvuscha. This that the Rambam adds a proof from Parshas Bilam, even though he brought the first proof from Vashav Hashem Lekecha Shvuscha Mashma. V'komuvan mi Parshas L'Shoinoi Shaksuv mi Parshas Bilam Mevi Rambam Bikar Leira Karai Al Etzem B'Yes HaMashiach. Why does the Rambam bring the proof from Parshas Bilam? Not only proof for the etzem, the concept of the coming of Mashiach, which means Geulas Yisrael Magos. You didn't believe exile. No, it's more than that. Elagam sheniba b'shnei HaMashiachim and Mashiach Harishin Shu David Chuluv Mashiach Acharin Shemin B'Banov. The Torah gives detailed the first Mashiach, the second Mashiach. So because the Rambam wants to show you how there's details, not only a general concept. So he brings these psukim. For this reason, because he wants to tell you that it's not just a general thing, but there's details, it's much more than just Yidden leaving Golas, so he brings the Rai from Parshas Bilam and he elaborates. Now, Rebbe asks, what does this mean? This itself needs an explanation. This itself, if you want to tell me that he adds just the Rai from Parshas Bilam, in addition to the first proof, is understood. Why does he add the proof in Parshas Bilam, even though he brought a first proof? Because there it doesn't say it's going to be through Mashiach. And on these words, the Rebbe brings Lahoid, the Peresh Rashi, Sanhedrin, Tzadik Tasamar Aleph, Dvar Malchus Hilchos Moshiach. The Rebbe brings what Rashi says in Sanhedrin regarding to what Hillel said that there's no Mashiach. What does he explain? The Eibishter will rule, will king by himself and redeem them by himself. Hillel Azakin, yeah. Now the Rebbe says, the Chazam Sefer says regarding what Hillel says, if a guy's going to come now and be a smart guy, like some Rav, whatever, a couple of years ago said, he says, Hillel said, so he could be like Hillel. So the Chazam Sefer writes, anyone that says that he's going to hold like Hillel, that the Gula is going to come through the Eibishter without a Melech HaMashiach, he's a koifer b'chalal HaTorah. And this is exactly what the Rambam emphasizes. By him saying that's not enough. There's also Parshas Bilam. So back inside, therefore the Teda that Rambam brings a clear proof that the Teda witness is on Melech HaMashiach, which that we see from the Rai from Parshas Bilam. The Rebbe asks, okay, so you want to tell me it's not enough to believe in the Gula is going to come through the Eibishter, I need to believe the Gula is going to come through Melech HaMashiach. Okay, so I need to believe the Gula is going to come through Melech HaMashiach, but what is it, Noigeya, that the Torah witnesses not only about the last Mashiach that we're waiting for, which that's the whole purpose he's bringing to prove that Gula is going to come through Mashiach, but also he witnessed about the first Mashiach, David HaMelech. How does that fly in here? What does it have to do with anything? David was a Mashiach, so someone else was also something. What does it make a difference? Especially for the Rambam to speak in such a deep length, with bring down all the lashonis, all the lashonis of the psukim, to say how this is going on. The first Mashiach, the last Mashiach. What is it Neigeya? Now in the Ha'ad over here, the Rebbe is going to says, I'll say it outside, Be'ezrat Hashem. What's if you're going to answer? Why does the Rambam need to bring this whole adichas, the whole loshin from Parshas Bilam? Arenu v'lei atas David, Asherenu v'lei korev Melech HaMashiach, Derech Keichav Meyakov David, V'kom Shevet Misrael Melech HaMashiach, V'achetz B'asavei David, V'kakakov Mishis Melech HaMashiach. Why is he bringing down all the psukim and saying David Melech HaMashiach? Because this is the only medrash. There's a medrash. Rabbeinu Bachaya, the Rebbe brings Rabbeinu Bachaya and medrash Hagadol, the Ramban. They say the same thing. Arenu v'lei is David. Asherenu v'lei korev is Melech HaMashiach. In the Medrash it says the exact same thing the way the Rambam says it. So maybe the only proof that this pasuk is speaking about Melech HaMashiach is from these Medrashim. So the Rambam has to copy paste the Medrashim the way it is. K'may shehu. Yeah. The Rambam wants to prove that the pasuk speaks about Melech HaMashiach. So what? So he needs to copy paste the whole Medrash that says the wordings of Melech HaMashiach. So because he has to copy paste all Medrash, he also has to bring the first half that's speaking about David. Like you're quoting something, right? So you're going to put quotes and you have to bring it the way it is. You can't start playing around. So the Rebbe says you can't say that for three reasons. First of all, the Rambam never does such a thing. What the Rambam wants to quote with to quote, the Rambam wants to prove something, so he brings what's noigeya to what he wants to say. He doesn't bring also what's not noigeya. He wants to prove the Torah speaks about Malach HaMashiach, so he doesn't need to mention one word about David HaMelech.
On the contrary, sometimes the Rambam quotes a pasuk differently.
Exactly, and sometimes, okay, he's mentioning it, I'll say it anyways over here. In this proof itself, that has a whole sikha. It says, here it says, V'hoya Edom Yereisha. So David, V'hoya Yereisha Seir, Oivav Zah Malach HaMashiach. It says Seir is going to be an inheritance. Who is this referring to? Malach HaMashiach, and he brings a proof. Shenamar, V'olu Meishim Ba'aretziyin, V'goymer. What does V'olu Meishim Ba'aretziyin mean? Well, the whole purpose is for the continuation of the pasuk Lishbeit Asar Esav, that we're going to rule over Esav. That's a proof that V'hayeresh Seir Evav, that Mashiach's going to inherit Seir, like we see. But the Rambam doesn't bring the rest of the pasuk. He just says V'goymer. The Rambam has a whole sikh about this, that the Rambam is not ma'irich even one extra word. The Rambam doesn't bring even if it's more, it's 3-4 words. He doesn't bring it over here. All of a sudden he quotes a whole medrash because it mentions Mashiach. That's not the derech of the Rambam. This that the Rambam is bringing the first half is because it's noigeya. The second, another reason why you can't say that the reason the Rambam is bringing it is just copy pasting the Medrash is because if this would be the case, the Rebbe says there's Medrashim that say that the first half is also speaking about Malach HaMashiach. What the Rambam says is Ar'enu v'lo yato. This is David HaMelech, the first Mashiach. I see him and he's not close. This is the last Mashiach. And the Medrash goes back. You know, it's 4 times. The first half is David, the second half is Malach HaMashiach. The first half is David, the second half is Malach HaMashiach. Again, there's Medrashim that say everything is going on Malach HaMashiach. So if you're telling me that the reason why the Rambam copy-paste the whole thing is because this is the only Medrash that says it's referring to Malach HaMashiach, that's connecting these psukim to Malach HaMashiach, therefore the Rambam also has to mention David HaMelech, the whole thing the way it is. So the Rambam should have bring the Medrashim that say everything is speaking about Malach HaMashiach. Why does he choose a Medrash that only half is speaking about Malach HaMashiach? Obviously, this that this that the Rambam is bringing David HaMelech is not because that David HaMelech is the first Mashiach and he's bringing everything. Is not because this is the only Medrash that says it's speaking about Mashiach. Because if that's the case, he would have bring a Medrash that says everything is speaking about Malach HaMashiach. Understand? And the third thing that Rebbe says is that the Rambam is not here to bring proofs to Medrashim that the Medrashim speak about Mashiach. Who cares about Medrashim over here? The Rambam says HaTorah Ha'idalav, that the Torah, if someone doesn't believe in Mashiach, he's kofer but Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. He's kofer in Chamish Yechom Shei Torah and in Moshe Rabbeinu, that the Torah witnesses on Malach HaMashiach. So for this, that the Torah witnesses on Malach HaMashiach is not Noigeya any Medrashim. So this that the Rambam brings, the first Mashiach is David 4 times, 5 times, and he brings all the psukim, it's because it's Noigeya, okay, it's Noigeya to the Etzem Emunah in Malach HaMashiach, like the Rebbe is going to explain later on. It's not Stam because he's quoting a Medrash and he had no other choice or something like that, no. Yeah? Now here, the Rebbe is going to ask, why does the Rambam says the Torah witnessed about the 2 Mashiachs? What's this term, the 2 Mashiachs? The first Mashiach, that's David, like you're saying that they're both one thing. They're like the 2 Mashiachs. There's this Mashiach concept, and there was the first one, the second one. What's this term, the 2 Mashiachs? And also, like, what is it Noikeya? The Ikar is Noikeya to the Amun in Malach HaMashiach that he's going to come in the future, not that David HaMelech is also the first Mashiach. What is it Noikeya? So the Rebbe is going to say over here that you could say, why does the Rambam mention David is the first Mashiach? Because the Rambam wants to be Machazik, the Amun and Bias HaMashiach. And when the Rebbe said it by Fabrengen, the Rebbe spoke for a very long time about this, and the Rebbe said, this is the answer. This is the answer why the Rambam mentions David HaMelech. Chazal say, one of the proofs for Tchias HaMeisim, to make it understood more according logically, is that if the Eibishter can make someone from nothing, there was a person, any person came from nowhere, he wasn't here, he wasn't in this world at all, and he was born, so for sure the Eibishter can make, if the Eibishter can make someone from nothing, the Eibishter can make someone that was here, that he should be here again. If the Eibishter has the koyach, Chassidus explains it much deeper, that if the Eibishter can make the whole world yesh ma'ayin, the Eibishter can make from nothing, From the God, there was nothing. The Eibishter can make a world. The Eibishter for sure could take the world and make it a Mashiach world. If the Eibishter has the koyach to make a world from nothing, the Eibishter has the koyach to be Machaya Meisim. Which means, once there's something was here, if you can make something small, you can make something even bigger. If something was here once upon a time, it can happen again. So too Mashiach. If Mashiach would be something that never happened in history, so you'd say believe in Mashiach, so it would be maybe a little bit hard for someone to grasp such a thing in his seichel, that there's this concept of Mashiach. But because there was this concept of Mashiach already in the past, there was already the first Mashiach, that was Dvar Malchus, so it makes it easier to believe that the same thing is going to take place again. And like I told him, an example the other day, if someone would come around before Corona, a couple of months before Corona, and say, you know, there's going to be some plague, millions of people are going to be dying all over the world, everyone's going to be locked up in their house, walking around with masks, you'd think this guy's a complete meshugana, and you would send him straight to a mental institution. 2020, to have such a thing, people quarantine and this and that, like a meshugana Welt, it doesn't make sense. It sounds totally not normal. But after such a thing happened, a guy's going to come up and say there's another gal, another what is it called? Another wave, another this. See, Chas v'Shalom, I'm just saying. So it doesn't sound so crazy. This is Midas Puranas. Allah has come in the good way. You say Mashiach's going to come, so a guy like people never heard it. If something that never happened, and you're going to say it's going to happen, it's harder to believe that something that never happened is going to happen. But if something happened, Eden were in Golus. They were in Golus, just like we're in Golus now. And then a Mashiach came, the first Mashiach, David HaMelech came. He won over all the goyim. He made a war and he won over all the goyim. He prepared the Beis Hamikdash. He was even going to build the Beis Hamikdash, and he built the Beis Hamikdash through his son Shlomo. All Yidden were in Eretz Yisrael. They were able to do all the 613 mitzvahs. Oh, there was such a concept, so it makes it easier to believe that it's going to happen again. And Mashiach's going to come just like David HaMelech from his descendants. So he's going to bring the golem. That's one way that Rebbe says it. So why does the Rambam mention the first Mashiach is David? Because the Rambam wants to be mechazik the emunah in Mashiach. That you should know that Mashiach is not a new thing. One other way that Rebbe says is that it's both Mashiachim are part of one nevuah. Bilam said one nevuah. Just like one half of the nevuah was fulfilled, so too the second half of the nevuah is going to be fulfilled. If nothing happens, how do you know there's anything real over here? But you see, it's one nevuah, it's one prophecy, and it started to be fulfilled. And it's not only that; it's one nevuah that it's like this. It goes back and forth. They have the first Mashiach, the second Mashiach, the first Mashiach, the second Mashiach, the first Mashiach, the second. It goes back and forth in the pasuk 4 times, and every single part of the first Mashiach happened. So you know for sure the second half is also going to happen because it's one nevuah. You see that it's being fulfilled, so you know the second half is for sure also going to be fulfilled. You see that it's being fulfilled, so you know that the second half is going to be fulfilled. It's clear.
That's the answer?
So this, in the Farbrengen, this was the answer, and the Rebbe was Meirich. It's a very, very geschmack. I showed it to Rebbe Gedalia Blooming. He said this is Amamish like a geschmack, a beer. He told me in the seif, you need to bring it in, even though it's built in Muk, you have to have it out over there. The Rebbe says that when it's going to make sense, the concept of Mashiach al pi seichel, a second earlier,